This is Marcus Washington from MTC Media with your UVA Football Preview. UVA will have a new head coach on the sideline this fall. Brendan Mendenhall decided to step away in December from the head coaching position, and the Cavaliers looked inside the conference and hired Tony Elliott from Clemson. Elliott served as assistant head coach and offense coordinator for the Tigers. In his 11 years there, Elliott was part of a staff that won 7 ACC titles, 6 college football playoff appearances, and 2 national championships. Now, on offense, the cupboard is not empty. Elliott inherits a productive offense led by quarterback Brennan Armstrong. Last season was a big one for Armstrong. He was second nationally in total offense with 427.3 yards per game and set new UVA single-season marks for passing yards at 4,449 and touchdown passes at 31. The Cavaliers bring back a stable of explosive wide receivers led by Tavion Wicks. Wicks was an all-ACC first-teamer who had 57 catches for 1,203 yards and 9 touchdowns. Katavian Thompson had a combined 1,237 yards rushing and receiving with 5 total touchdowns, and Billy Kemp has 725 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns. Now, UVA expects also to get a contribution this season out of Malachi Fields, who is expected to have an increased role as a sophomore. The major concern for UVA is the offensive line. They lost 6 linemen for the transfer, and that's going to impact a rushing game that finished last in the ACC last season. Overall, as well as Armstrong played last season, UVA will need balance. If UVA's running game isn't adequate, the Cavaliers will struggle on that side of the ball against better defenses in the ACC. Speaking of defense, it's the side of the ball where UVA will need a major jump. Defensively, only Duke saved UVA from being last in the ACC in defense. The D gave up 466 yards per game and was last in the conference in rushing defense. Elliott brought in John Rosinski from Air Force. Rosinski had a top 5 defense last season. Air Force only gave up 299.5 yards per game. Look for UVA to get away from that 3-3 stack and move to a 4-2-5 scheme. Linebacker Nick Jackson was a bright spot for the Cavaliers last season. Jackson led the ACC with 117 tackles. Like a lot of schools, UVA turned to the portal to get some immediate help on that side of the ball. Jack Camper from Michigan State, Paul Akir from Columbia, Cam Butler from Miami of Ohio, and Devontae Davis from South Carolina all chose to make Charlottesville their home this season. The transfers will join Jackson, returning guys like Anthony Johnson, who had 3 interceptions and 6 pass breakups, and Aaron Famui, who had 23 tackles and 3.5 sacks. Overall, the jury still is out on this side of the ball. Look for the Cavaliers to be more aggressive on defense, perhaps blitzing more, where they're going to have to take enough chances that they can get off the field and force more 3-and-outs, but also you take the chance of giving up the big play. But any improvement will be welcome on this side of the ball in Elliott's first year in Charlottesville. When you look at the schedule, UVA opens out against Richmond, and then they make their first road trip as they go to Big Ten foe, Illinois, before returning back home with ODU. They'll open up that conference schedule with 2 road games at Syracuse and Duke, and then a home game with Louisville. Then they hit the road again over at Georgia Tech with Miami, North Carolina, and Pitt, along with Coastal Carolina coming to Charlottesville for a 4-game home stand before they go away against rival Virginia Tech over in Blacksburg. This is Marcus Washington from MTC Media with a look at UVA football for this season.